Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you with a message that may sound unusual, but it's necessary. Stop being kind to everyone. Now, don't get me wrong, kindness is a virtue, but when you give it out recklessly, it stops being a blessing and starts being a burden. Too many of us are exhausting ourselves trying to be everything for everybody, and in the process, we're losing ourselves. Kindness is a beautiful thing. It is one of the greatest gifts you can give to another human being. But kindness, when given without wisdom, without boundaries, and without discernment, can become a trap. Too often, people assume that being kind means saying yes to everything, helping everyone, and always being available. But let me tell you something, not everyone deserves your kindness, and not everyone can handle it responsibly. When you give kindness without discernment, you open yourself up to manipulation, misuse, and exhaustion. There are people in this world who do not see your kindness as a virtue. They see it as an opportunity. They see it as a weakness to exploit, a resource to drain, a tool to use for their own selfish benefit. Some people will take your kindness and never give anything back in return. They will take your time, your energy, your effort, whatever they can get from you, and then disappear the moment you need them. Some of you have been caught in this trap for years. You've been the one who always shows up, the one who always gives, the one who always supports, only to find that when you're the one in need, there's no one around. And then you sit there wondering, why do I feel so empty? Why do I feel so drained? Because you have been pouring into the wrong people. You have been sowing seeds into soil that will never produce a harvest. When you don't use discernment with your kindness, you end up helping people who don't want help, fixing people who don't want to be fixed, and carrying people who have no intention of walking on their own. Some people don't need another handout. They need to learn responsibility. Some people don't need another second chance. They need to experience the consequences of their actions. Some people don't need you to save them. They need to learn how to stand on their own 2 feet. But when you keep being kind without wisdom, you block that process. You interfere with what God is trying to teach them. There is a reason the Bible tells us to guard our hearts, because everything flows from it. If you are always giving kindness to the wrong people, you will have nothing left for the right ones. The enemy would love for you to waste all your energy on people who do not appreciate or respect you, so that when the right people come along, you are too tired, too bitter, and too broken to receive them. That's why discernment is necessary. Think about it. When you invest money, you don't just throw it anywhere. You analyze, you study, you evaluate where it will grow. Why? Because money is valuable. But let me ask you, is your time not valuable? Is your energy not valuable? Is your peace not valuable? You cannot afford to waste your kindness on people who are only looking to take advantage of you. There is a difference between being kind and being naive. Being kind means you help when you can, but you also know when to step back. Being kind means you give from a full cup, not from an empty one. Being kind means you pour into people who are capable of pouring back into you. But being naive, that's when you give without thinking. That's when you let people take and take until there's nothing left of you. It is time to wake up. It is time to recognize that not everyone deserves access to you. It is time to start being wise with your kindness. One of the hardest lessons you will ever learn in life is that not everyone is meant to walk with you to the finish line. Some people are only supposed to be with you for a season, but you keep trying to make them a lifetime commitment. Some relationships are temporary, but because of emotional attachment, fear, or guilt, you hold on longer than you should. And when you do that, you put your own growth, purpose, and future at risk. You have to understand that destiny is not a group assignment. It is a personal journey. It is something that God designed specifically for you. And when God gives you a vision, he does not give it to everyone else. Some people will not see what you see. Some people will not believe in what you believe. Some people will not have the capacity to carry what you are carrying. And if you are not careful, you will let their doubt, their negativity, and their small-mindedness pull you down to their level. Some of you are struggling not because you are on the wrong path, but because you are carrying the wrong people. You keep trying to drag people into a future they were never meant to be a part of. You keep trying to convince people to support you when God never told them to support you. You keep trying to force relationships that God has been trying to separate you from. Look at the story of Abraham. When God told him to go to a new land, he didn't say, take everybody with you. He told him, leave his country, his family, and his father's household. Why? Because what God had for Abraham was for Abraham. Some of you are trying to bring people into your promised land, but they don't have the faith to walk with you. And the longer you hold on to them, the longer you delay your own blessing. Some of you are carrying dead weight. You have friends who don't believe in you, but you keep them around because of history. You have family members who discourage you at every turn, but you keep trying to prove yourself to them. You have people in your life who drain you emotionally, but you keep giving them access, and then you wonder why you feel stuck. You cannot take everyone with you because not everyone has the capacity for where you are going. Some people are too comfortable with small thinking, and they will never understand the big vision inside of you. Some people are too attached to their old ways, and they will never embrace the transformation that God is doing in your life. Some people are too afraid of change, and they will try to keep you bound to who you used to be instead of who you are becoming. When God is elevating you, he will start removing people. He will start shifting things. He will start causing relationships to fall apart. And it's not always because something went wrong. It's because they are not assigned to your next level. But the problem is, instead of letting them go, you chase them. Instead of trusting God's process, you try to hold on to what he is trying to take away. Some relationships are like scaffolding on a building. They were never meant to be permanent. They were only there to help with construction, but once the building is complete, the scaffolding must be removed. The problem is many of you have been trying to build your life around the scaffolding instead of recognizing that it was only there for a season. And the truth is, some people cannot handle your growth. As long as you stay the same, as long as you keep operating at a level they are comfortable with, they are fine. But the moment you start rising, the moment you start moving differently, the moment you start breaking cycles, they start feeling threatened because your growth exposes their stagnation. Your progress highlights their lack of movement. Your elevation makes them uncomfortable because it forces them to look at themselves. This is why you cannot be afraid to walk alone. If you are always waiting for people to validate you, always waiting for people to support you, always waiting for people to understand you, you will never move forward. You must get to a place where you realize that destiny requires separation. And if you are not willing to let go of the wrong people, you will never have space for the right ones. Your energy is one of the most valuable assets you possess. It is the fuel that powers your dreams, the force that drives your purpose, and the resource that sustains your emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. Yet too many people treat their energy like an unlimited supply, freely giving it away to people, places, and situations that do nothing but drain them. You have to understand that your energy is sacred, and if you do not protect it, you will find yourself depleted, exhausted, and unable to fulfill the assignment on your life. Think about it. If you had a treasure chest filled with gold, would you leave it open for anyone to take from? Would you allow just anyone to reach in and grab what they want whenever they want without considering whether they deserved it? Of course not. You would guard it, you would protect it, you would make sure that only those who respected its value had access to it. But too many of us fail to do the same with our energy. We give it away too freely. We pour into people who never pour back. We invest in relationships that are emotionally bankrupt. We engage in conversations that drain us instead of uplift us. And then we wonder why we feel tired all the time, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. Your energy is not limitless. Every interaction, every conversation, every thought you entertain either adds to your energy or takes away from it. Some people will recharge you, filling you with inspiration, encouragement, and love. But others will take from you without hesitation. They will demand your time, your attention, your emotional labor, and your mental strength, leaving you feeling empty and used. There are some people in your life who never come around unless they need something. The moment they have a crisis, they call you. The moment they need advice, they text you. The moment they are in trouble, they seek you out. But where are they when you need something? Where are they when your soul needs refueling? Where are they when you need a listening ear, a word of encouragement, or a shoulder to lean on? If you are constantly available to people who are never available to you, you are mismanaging your energy. And it's not just people, it's environments. Some of you are walking into spaces that rob you of your peace. You enter workplaces filled with negativity, gossip, and toxic energy, and you wonder why you feel mentally drained before noon. You surround yourself with people who complain about everything, and you wonder why your own thoughts start becoming negative. You engage in arguments and debates that serve no purpose, and you wonder why you feel emotionally exhausted. Everything you engage in either deposits energy into you or withdraws energy from you. And if you are not intentional about protecting your energy, you will find yourself spiritually bankrupt. Then there are the mental and emotional leaks that go unnoticed. The overthinking, the self-doubt, the constant worrying about things you cannot control. Every negative thought you entertain is like a thief quietly stealing from the energy reserves you need to build your future. How much time do you waste replaying past mistakes? How much energy do you lose worrying about people who don't even think about you? How much mental strength do you burn trying to change things that are outside of your control? If you want to be effective, if you want to fulfill your purpose, if you want to operate at the highest level of your calling, you must be selective about where your energy goes. Not everyone deserves your time. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every conversation is worth engaging in. Not every relationship is worth maintaining. You must start seeing your energy the same way you see your money, as something valuable that must be spent wisely. Some of you are walking around spiritually exhausted, emotionally depleted, and mentally fatigued. And you don't even realize why. It's because you have been spending your energy on things that do not serve you. You have been allowing people to take from you without limits. You have been operating without boundaries, and now you are running on empty. There is power in the word no. But for too many people, it is one of the hardest words to say. We have been conditioned to believe that saying no makes us selfish, unkind, or unhelpful. We have been taught that in order to be a good person, we must always be available, always be willing, always be accommodating. But let me tell you something. If you do not learn the power of no, you will spend your life being drained, used, and unfulfilled. Saying no is not about being mean or uncaring. It is about setting boundaries that protect your time, your energy, your peace, and your purpose. Some of you have been saying yes to everything and everyone, and now you are exhausted. You say yes because you don't want to disappoint people. You say yes because you want to be liked. You say yes because you don't want to feel guilty. But what you fail to realize is that every time you say yes to something that does not serve you, you are saying no to something that does. Think about it. How many times have you said yes to helping someone when you really didn't have the time? How many times have you said yes to a request that you knew was going to stress you out? How many times have you said yes to something that pulled you away from your own priorities? And how did you feel afterward? Overwhelmed, frustrated, resentful. Not because they asked, but because you didn't have the strength to say no. Some of you have been conditioned to believe that your worth is tied to how much you can do for others. You feel guilty when you put yourself first, as if your own needs don't matter. But let me tell you something. Your peace matters. Your time matters. Your well-being matters. If you continue to put everyone else's needs ahead of your own, you will wake up one day and realize that you have nothing left for yourself. There are people in your life right now who only come to you because they know you won't say no. They don't even consider how much they are asking from you because they assume you will always agree. They have learned how to manipulate your kindness, how to guilt trip you into doing what they want, how to use your inability to say no to their advantage. And the more you allow it, the more they will take. Saying no is a form of self-respect. It is you declaring that your time and energy are valuable. It is you recognizing that you cannot pour into others if you are constantly empty. It is you acknowledging that you are not responsible for fixing everyone's problems, carrying everyone's burdens, or fulfilling everyone's expectations. Saying no does not make you a bad person. It does not make you unkind. It does not make you selfish. It makes you wise. Because when you learn the power of no, you begin to protect your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Some of you need to start saying no to toxic relationships that drain you instead of feed you. Some of you need to start saying no to unnecessary obligations that add stress to your life. Some of you need to start saying no to negative conversations that bring nothing but gossip, drama, and confusion. Some of you need to start saying no to distractions that pull you away from your purpose. And hear me on this. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your no. You do not have to justify why you are choosing to protect your energy. You do not have to explain why you are prioritizing yourself. A simple no, I can't is enough. A simple I'm not available is enough. A simple I don't have the capacity for that is enough. If someone gets angry because you are setting boundaries, that is a sign that they were benefiting from your lack of them. Every time you say no to the wrong things, you are making room to say yes to the right things. Yes to your peace, yes to your purpose, yes to your growth. But you cannot embrace those things if you are always filling your life with things that do not serve you. Kindness is a beautiful quality. It is a reflection of love, compassion, and generosity. But in this world, if you are not careful, your kindness will be mistaken for obligation. The more you give, the more some people will come to expect from you. The more you show up, the more they will assume you must always be there. What started as a choice becomes a duty in their minds. And before you know it, your kindness is no longer appreciated. It is expected. Have you ever noticed how in the beginning, people are so grateful when you help them? They thank you, they praise you, they recognize your effort. But over time, that gratitude fades, and what was once seen as a favor becomes something they feel entitled to. The same people who once appreciated you now demand from you. The same people who once saw your kindness as a blessing now treat it as a requirement. You offer a helping hand once and they take the whole arm. You do something out of love and now they expect it as a duty. You go the extra mile and suddenly the extra mile is the new standard. And if you dare to stop, if you dare to set boundaries, if you dare to pull back even slightly, they get offended. They act as if you are wrong for no longer doing what they have come to expect. This is how people operate when you don't set limits. They adjust to the level of kindness you provide and begin to treat it as the default. They normalize your sacrifices without recognizing the weight of what you are doing. And here's the dangerous part. The moment you stop, the moment you say no, the moment you ask for the same in return, you become the villain. Some of you have been pouring into people who never pour back. You have been showing up for people who wouldn't take one step for you. You have been overextending yourself for people who don't even acknowledge your effort, and yet you keep doing it because you don't want to disappoint them. But let me ask you, when was the last time they worried about disappointing you? Some people will never appreciate your kindness until you take it away. They won't realize how much you did for them until you stop doing it. They won't recognize the weight you carried until you put it down. And when you finally do, watch how they react. Some will be understanding, realizing they have taken you for granted, but others will become angry, resentful, and bitter, not because you did anything wrong, but because they can no longer use you the way they once did. Understand this: your kindness is a privilege, not an obligation. No one is entitled to your time, your energy, or your sacrifices. If you help, it is because you choose to. If you give, it is because it is in your heart to do so. But the moment someone starts treating your kindness as something they deserve rather than something they are blessed to receive, it's time to step back. The reality is there are people who only stay connected to you because of what you provide. They don't see you, they see what they can get from you. And when you start setting boundaries, when you start pulling away, when you start prioritizing yourself, you will see their true colors. Some will walk away, some will try to guilt trip you, some will even attempt to make you feel bad for no longer putting them first. But that is not your burden to carry.